Now, what's one of the other things that stops us from having vision? One of the things that gets in the way of our vision is division. When you think about that word division, do you know what that word means? It means double vision. Division. Now, Carl Jung said, the psychologist, said that when we're divided between our inner world and our outer, what he called the visible world, then we end up at war with ourselves. So one of the things that gets in the way of our vision is that when we end up at war with ourselves, a house divided against itself will not stand. And that's true for individuals as well as communities, political parties, nations. A house divided against itself will not stand. Now think about that in terms of your own life. You may have certain aspirations that come from a very deep place in terms of what you want for yourself and for the world. But if your actions don't match those aspirations, you'll be at war with yourself. You'll be a house divided. If internally you're at peace, and yet your outward actions are all about competition and progress and getting ahead, then you'll be at war with yourself. Division, whether it's personal division, a person being divided against themselves, or a community that's divided with competing visions, or a nation that's divided with competing divisions, is a person and a world that cannot stand. Now, once again, the way you root out the causes of this division is to understand the lens that you're wearing. What lens are you approaching this with? Where is this division coming from? Heal the division, and you put yourself back on track to an exciting vision. Now, I want to say a word about the size of a vision. We heard Tony sing the song Big Time this morning. I enjoyed that. I've never heard Peter Gabriel sung in a spiritual gathering, but I really, really enjoyed that. And that's an interesting song. So on the one hand, we want to have a big vision. On the one hand, you want to get beyond yourself. You want to connect to something large. You want to be part of something incredible and lasting. But on the other hand, what is size? In the end, talking about having a big vision is a little like a group of men talking about how big their fish is that they caught. In the end, it's really just a matter of ego and pride. Now, I learnt this firsthand quite recently. I was down in Kansas at a seminar, and I was talking about having a large vision. And that's language I've used for a couple of years now. It's been very real for me that I have a large vision for the world. And I was challenged by someone at the conference, and they were exactly right. And it took me a few days to really come to understand this. The size of the vision is really not that important. It's the depth of the vision that counts. And what is a large vision? Because in the end, it's not the outcomes that matter, it's the authenticity that matters. So if your vision has you living an authentic life, a life that makes you come alive, then that's the vision that's right for you. And if that leads you onto a world scale, to a large platform, so be it. If it keeps you in a smaller environment, so be that. It's not about the outcomes, it's about the authenticity. So if you're doing that thing which makes you come alive, that thing which makes you feel authentic, then that's the right vision. That's a vision of depth. Because when you've done the inner work and you've understood your own lens and you've seen yourself face on, it no longer matters what the size of the vision is. In fact, the details take care of themselves because you know what you've got to do. Anyone or anything that does not make you come alive is too small for you. Now, the way I understand that is that it makes you shrink. It makes you contract. It makes you less of who you are. On the other hand, anyone or anything that brings you alive, that makes you more of who you are, that makes you more excited, that's the right person, the right community, the right thing for you. Anyone or anything that brings you alive is the right one or thing for you. Now, I believe that authenticity is the key to vision. Here's what I believe to be true, and I've experienced it in my life. I believe we've even experienced it as a community together. If you live authentically, the right people gather around you, and the right resources gather around you, and circumstances line up the way they need to, and vision becomes a reality. When you live authentically, the right people gather, the right circumstances collide, and everything is as it needs to be. And when you live authentically, there's no failure, there's only feedback. So when you set out on an authentic path with an authentic vision, a vision that makes you feel alive, there are no wrong turns, there are no failures, there's just feedback that maybe you need to do things slightly differently. Maybe you're still coming to understand who you are, and you're doing that by a process of finding out who you're not. It's not a mistake, it's just feedback. So this morning, my challenge to you is that you might come to a point of clarity and excitement. Clarity about who you are, and isn't that a lifelong process? Clarity about who you are, clarity about what you want to see happen in the world, and excitement. Keep yourself stretching. Keep yourself stretching for just that little bit more authenticity than you even have now. And as whole groups of people stretch, reach for that authenticity, then the right things will happen at the right time.